Welcome back, everyone. Hello, this is the Owujo Experiment, and I am Yvette Gibbs here with my co host and nephew, Mr. Slim DeWitt.
What's going on, lovely people?
Thanks for joining, Slim, and thank you for all the support that you have offered me. And I am still smiling and appreciative of the kind words that you shared in the last episode. Haven't fully gotten back to you on all of what it meant for me because I'm still processing it myself. But it feels really good to be seen, young man.
Keep on smelling them flowers.
Yes.
As the petals fall off, I'll be handing you new stems.
Look at you. Look at you. You just they just be coming.
All I can say is blessed. I'm grateful.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. Me too. So speaking of flowers, last week, we were giving flowers to the hip hop matriarchs. And that was a perfect segue into March being Women's History Month. And news on Saturday broke of Miss Angie Stone passing away. And I had to apologize to you for forgetting what she offered to hip hop. And that she was a pioneer because Slim, I had heard her in different interviews talk about being a member of the first girl group. So for me to kind of forget that, I feel a little bad. But let's give her flowers now because she was a hip hop pioneer, a matriarch, and she was part of the group, The Sequence, which was signed to the Sugar Hill label. So Sylvia Robinson saw her talent and, did what she did with that too. So I haven't gone and I haven't listened to The Sequence's music, but I have been listening to Angie Stone's music since Saturday, and it's had me in my feelings because I appreciate her artistry. And I appreciate the way that she helps me to recognize Black love and also the power that Black women have. So before I dive into that a little bit, there's one song I do want to talk about, but I want to give you an opportunity to speak on her.
I feel like my sentiments for her go right in line with Sylvia Robinson. It's similar to what we were saying about MC Shaw Rock. Just I gotta fight for your legacy. And I think I hold the same feelings and sentiments that you do, that I feel a little bad that we left them out and forgot. And that was a feeling I held the entire creation of that 50 Years project. Is you can't catch everybody, but once you really, like, you're signed to the Sugar Hill label, one of the first girl groups, was like, how did I miss it?
Yeah.
And it's super unfortunate because now she's no longer here to smell them, the flowers that we are going to give because they're rightfully due. But another unsung hero, another beautiful soul and voice. You could hear the soul in her voice. Again, it in your feels because not just because she passed, but because she got one of them voices.
Yeah. One of those voices, and for me, that message. She hit the scene for me. My first time learning about Miss Angie Stone was during what was referred to as the neo soul movement. So it was when she came out with her music as an R&B artist, Maxwell, Jill Scott, Angie's
Soul Child.
Music Soul Child. Music Soul Child, he came a little after.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Miss Angie Stone's baby daddy, D'Angelo, when he
I was
came
gonna say
out.
D'Angelo, yeah.
Yeah. She was part of that. and this was, and we've talked about this. This is when you were a twinkle in your daddy's eye. But during the time that they came out, the neo soul movement, it one of the things I loved about it the most is that my mom loved that movement too.
Mm,
She loved how it was a familiar sound, but new at the same time. New
mm,
lyrics, new meaning. And my mom really loved Maxwell. He reminded her of Marvin Gaye, in terms of how smooth
yeah,
his voice is.
I was gonna say the voice is. I wouldn't even say silk. It's like blend of silk and velvet.
Yes, yes. What is that velvet? That is velvet. He does. Yes, he has a velvet voice. And if you don't know, oh yeah. And so I got that was during a time where I was going to concerts a lot to see them, and going to Philly, to see them. And Philly in and of itself is just it's the city of brotherly love for a reason. It's a different vibe over there.
Mm,
And Miss Angie Stone's song Brother, I'm sorry. The lyrics in that really spoke to me. I was in my early 20s when that music came out, and dating and meeting men of different backgrounds and different stories, and that's when I started to realize the complexities that came with Black love,
mm,
and systemic issues. And her song Brother was like, for me, it was a message of, we see everything, we recognize everything, and we love you still,
mm,
and we will continue to love you. Like, it's here, it's always going to be here.
mm-hmm.
And Angie, the way she sang it was more direct, I think, than a lot of other artists of that time
Mm-hmm.
now did. But she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of it, and what? Yeah, we might be going through this, and what? I love my brother.
Wow.
No matter what, I love my brother." And for me, and not to take away from the women, this is Women's History Month, but for me, my love for Black men is because they get me. They get the unspokens. One of the things I would say is that I needed a partner because I needed my emotional cut man. After fighting in them corporate streets or working in them corporate streets, and having to negotiate and things like that, you do need somebody to come back to and have
Yeah.
maybe not even a full conversation, but just someone to hold space for you.
Everything you're saying right now reminds me of that conversation between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. It's he. You remember that interview? It
I
was
It's been a while since I've seen it, so go ahead and refresh my memory,
it
please.
was just like a little segment where he was talking about how we we want you to hold us down and support us. We've been out here smiling in these white men face all day, working and code switching is exhausting in its own respect. So we want to come home, let that guard down, and be able to melt into you. And she was like, this part of the conversation ain't necessarily what reminds me, but what he was saying. She responded and said, "No, why can't I get that?" It was like he gets the white man gets the smiley, kind you. I can't get that. I get all the rough edges that I have to smooth out.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
I remember that part.
And I was
And
like, "Ooh, she spit."
yeah, I think that interview was from the 60s, right? Or what?
Mm.
Yeah. That uh I understand both perspectives. I do. Um
And there goes what you opened by saying you understand the complexities of black love.
yeah. Yeah. It's complicated, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And, I can think back to, my father coming home with some stuff, that happened
Mm.
at work, and um my mom and him, they would talk about it, and she'd be in the kitchen making his food, making his plate, and he talked about his day, and I do remember there were a few times that my dad would come home talking about what was said at work,
Mm,
and how it was this one time in particular he was talking about a joke that was told about Polish people. It was a derogatory joke that was told about the Polish community, and my dad told the joke, and I'm not going to repeat it.
mm-hmm,
My dad told the joke, and I was in the living room like, I don't see anything funny about that.
mm-hmm,
As a kid, I thought that, but my dad told my mom that, and he said, he gave the punchline, and he said, if they're talking about them like that, you can only imagine what they're saying about us, what they're saying about me when I'm not there. So, me saying that I wanted that emotional cut person is because I remember those conversations that my parents would have, and the joke is not funny. It's not funny now. It wasn't funny then. And that kind of planted those Black Panther seeds that I got in me.
and
And
you
my
tell
parents weren't Black Panthers.
no, you telling that reminds me of the early, not just period, the relationship I have with my girlfriend, but what I realized early on in our relationship, the power in having someone that sees you and understands you and the space you take up in this world, and how you might be a little self-conscious of that because that's how we're raised, validating and affirming and vindicating all of what you're experiencing. There's so much power in that,
Yeah,
that not nobody else could give you, because no one else sees that. You could
yeah,
be the greatest ally in the world, and this is no disrespect to the interracial couples and all that. That you could be the greatest ally in the world. You could do all the research in the world, but that experience don't nothing teach you like living it.
yeah, yeah,
And can't nobody give it to you, the realist, unless they lived it.
yeah, yeah. There are some people like the one person that comes to mind for me that comes really close to getting it is Judge Katanji Brown Jackson's husband.
Mm,
His name is Patrick Jackson. Whenever she was when she was going through the process to become a Supreme Court justice, seeing her husband in the courtroom crying every time she said something that wowed people, or every time she got asked a question that he knew was unfair. To me, what was on display there was how he has always had to support her.
mm,
And that was before I learned that whenever they met in college and fell in love, he had some members of his family, and I believe it was a grandparent that was not for their interracial union. And he knew that choosing her meant that he was, you know, more than likely going to have to end that relationship with that
mm-hmm,
family member. And he was like, so be it. So whenever he would sit in those hearings, I guess it was, and I'll correct myself later with
mm-hmm,
some image up here, but to see him in those hearings crying like he was next to their
mm-hmm,
daughter, I'm like, that man gets it. He understands the complexities of Black love. And I think the tears were because he also knew that he couldn't do much but be there for her. He can't he can't, not no one person can fix what Black folks have to deal with on a daily basis just for being Black. And I think that came through. So, going back to Angie Stone and her messaging, and James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni's conversation, we have to hold each other up. We have to be there for one another, and I think at the core of what Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin were talking about was, we want to be able to experience both the joy and the pain, not just the pain. you know. Um, yeah, not just the pain. And in too many relationships, the pain can't be processed, can't be worked through. So, you know, Black folks sometimes don't get a chance to appreciate um, the love they have for one another fully.
Mm.
And that's sad. So, again, going back to Brother, that Angie Stone's version, I think it was acknowledgement of, again, those complexities and saying, I still love you in spite of. I still love you in spite of. So, thoughts on that, Slim?
There's so many. I guess my brain works relatively. Let me not say I guess. I know for a fact because I always call back the different things. I'm thinking about doo wop again.
Mm,
Address the ladies. The second verse are dedicated to the men. She just wants to see each one individually work out and get right within so that we can realize, the power that is black love. And it also addresses all the complexities that come throughout it. Like she dedicates a whole verse to the men. Like I see you.
yeah,
Um, yeah, just and to be able to convey those same sentiments through song, strictly through singing, that's that's next level. So I always look at those Harlem Renaissance artists and like descendants of that being Angie Stone in high regard. That's next level.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it's that unconditional love that I think is sometimes assumed, but not
Mm,
fully understood. So
mm,
we do need I appreciate it being expressed artistically, because those are lyrics that you can lean on. That's a song that you can throw in and think about that person that made you feel that way. Like it's important for us to get that out there. And going back to me in my early 20s and dating, and you know again meeting men with checkered stories. Like I've never been one to be like, I can't talk to you because you had this, that, and the other experience, because I know it's complicated. I know it's complicated. So what I have checked for is make sure people have knowledge of self. So you know yourself. Are you trying to be better? We can work on some things together, but you're
first step
responsible
is
for you.
always self. Yeah.
Yeah, you're responsible for you, and I'm responsible for me.
Mm-hmm.
um, I remember there was a guy I was seeing, and his parents sat me down to talk to me about well, maybe I shouldn't share this one. Okay, let me say it this way, and I'll give you more of it later, but let me say it this way. But I remember a couple that I was close to when I was younger, sitting me down and asking me what I wanted in a relationship, what I wanted from my partner. It's so hard for me to tell this story, Slim. It was my ex's parents. Like they recognized that he wasn't right for me. So they sat me down to let me know that their son wasn't it.
Hey, we don't like what he own. That's our boy. We love him, but get
Yeah, like
out, get out.
but when they sat me down, I remember them saying, what do you want out of a relationship? And I'm like, I want somebody to make me happy. And the father was like, no, you don't. I was like, isn't that what everybody wants? And they're like, no, you
Mm,
you share your happiness with someone. If you're looking for a man to make you happy, or if a man is looking for a woman to make them
never be
happy,
happy.
yeah, they didn't use those exact words, but that was the
Mm-hmm.
message.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you have to spend time with yourself and learn who you are. And at that time, that conversation seemed so odd, Slim, but I think about them often, because I'm
They
like,
gave you free game. Yeah.
yes, yes. And I took heed too. I took heed.
Help you dodge the bullet
Yes.
from
Oh,
their gun. The bullet from their gun. Like,
yes, they're good. But
uh,
again, black love and its complexities, okay? Because they're like, yeah, she's this girl is different. We need to talk with her. And their son wasn't a bad guy. He really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
They just saw something in me and they wanted, to help me let my light shine. I'm sharing that because it's necessary. You have to define happiness on your own terms.
Mm-hmm.
You can't you can't expect somebody else to establish
Constant
happiness.
disappointment is what that will bring.
Yeah, constant, constant. So, I had to spend the time needed to figure out what happiness was for me. And I'm glad I did because, we've talked about this, Slim. Getting married is easy, staying married is hard.
Mm.
And when I do finally jump over that broom, I want it to be forever, forever, ever. You know? And yes, I am playing on Outcast song
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it is to me. When you make that commitment before God, the divine engineer, I'm gonna be as true to that as I possibly can, and I've only recently become ready to do that. But it's all good. But yeah, so back to Miss Angie Stone. I appreciate very much her artistry and her love for blackness and her um, just how she just weaves that love into her music. I naturally for me, the next person to talk about that connects to that is Miss Jill Scott,
Mm.
and she has a song called "Brother" also, and it's not a cover. The lyrics are totally different, but again, it's those that the complexities that come with Black love are there. But her song, which I gave to you, Slim, to listen to, and it's "He Loves Me," is such a beautiful song. I'm still trying to promote it as a hip hop song, possibly, but it's a beautiful song. Go ahead.
I wasn't really gonna say much. I don't have too many thoughts. I just love how the album description starts with talking about how she's a poet that often circulated spoken word events,
Hmm.
and that when I was teaching that unit, tracing hip hop back to the Harlem Renaissance, the underlying thread is poetry.
Hmm.
It always started from poetry.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
With people who were either neo soul or the backpack rappers were all poets. Common, Mos Def, Kanye. I would not be surprised if Black Thought. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Which takes us back to that first 1970 hip hop album. Yeah.
Oh, the Wise Prophets and Lost Poets. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
All Austin poetry. Yep.
Yes. That's part of it. Those are the origins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not it when I first heard that Angie Stone was in the first female hip hop group, it seemed it didn't it didn't seem to fit. But when I went back, I'm like, oh yeah, it definitely fits because this is her. This is her flow. Yes, she's known as an R&B artist now, but it made perfect sense because the relationship is there. It's always been there. What Jill Scott has done with her music and how she integrates hip hop into it, and she even speaks about how she's influenced by hip hop. Like she her flow is one that is very much Jill Scott, meaning very much feminine, very much bluesy. There's jazz
Mm-hmm.
elements, and it's her doing her thing the way she does it, and she speaks to um, some challenges with loving black men. But even when she does, you don't hear it that way. She tells
Mm-hmm.
a story. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she tells a story. She allows the listeners to come to their own conclusions, but it's that love and that respect for the black man.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to touch on what you had said earlier, because I was going to go there whether you went there or not. But in the last episode, when you talked about your lady being the battery in your back,
Hmm.
um, I wish that more women understood that. And this goes to what you were talking about too, about the power that they have and not knowing that power, and I appreciate the relationship that you and your lady have. um, but it also is a reminder that not everybody has that. Not
Yeah.
everybody has that battery in their back that's fueling them to do the things that's necessary to get them to the next level. And I wish that more women understood that and used it for good. Use it for good. So, anything to say to that?
You brought up my lady. I got all, I'm in here with it. You talking about dozing? No, I'm just here with it. That's my baby. And like we talk about it all the time. Like for us to be in each other's lives at this point in our young adult lives, where she's pursuing her endeavors and how difficult the day to day is and how she needs this uplifting and support. And the same with me, how I'm striving to meet my goals, but I'm not neither we look around and our situation is the same, yet we're pressing forward. That's not easy to do. And we have each other to speak life into each other, to encourage, to be the biggest cheerleader in each other's corners. I don't know how far I would have pressed if not for her. I don't know if I would have made the videos you saw for us to connect if not for her.
Hmm.
I don't know, I can't speak for her situation. I can speak for mine, but yeah, that's crazy amount of power.
Yeah, crazy amount of power. And, for myself, I wasn't always aware of my power.
Mm.
I wasn't aware that my words could get to a man.
Build or break.
So,
Power to build and destroy. Men go to war over women. Like
yeah, yeah,
historically.
yes, yes, yes. I remember. Oh, maybe I should give so many stories about my about my exes. 'Cause I don't have a whole lot. But this man was not an ex. He was someone that I was talking to, and I remember I can't. I remember us having a conversation about something, and I had sent a text that this was before I was about to hop in the car too to head to work. So my text was I don't want to say abrupt. I don't know. It seemed like it was okay to me. So I can't even really apologize for what I said, but it just didn't sit well with him. So he called me and he said, did you mean to send that text to me? And I was like, yeah, like we were having a conversation. I know who I sent my text to. I don't slip up like that. That was what I was thinking in my head.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't slip up. I don't mix up my booze. But he said, then said to me, were you in the military? No. You weren't a drill sergeant? No. Like, why are you asking me these silly questions? We just talked about like me being a thick girl and having always been a thick girl. No, I've never done that. But I realized that he was talking about, my real firm, direct, firm approach and how direct I can be. And I
Mm.
can't remember what it was that I said because it really wasn't that important, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But what I took from it is I needed to soften up a bit because I didn't mean to upset him like that. I did like
Mm.
the guy, but yeah, he helped me to recognize, my power. So I try to take my time when I'm frustrated with. I try to take my time when I'm conversing with men, so that I am cognizant of um, their mood or
Mm.
they have. And I'm gonna say this too. There's a lot coming out in this podcast. Slip. Um, I recognize young that men are emotional, um,
Mm-hmm.
but I also saw that they were
hiding behind a lot of ego and pride,
Yes,
and
yes,
you got to tiptoe around it as not to hurt his feelings and cause no explosion. I
yes,
find that to be an underlying theme in a lot of interactions between men and women. Think about like catcalling and women fear for their lives if they're to say no, because all
yeah,
that ego and pride, they get it. It all goes back to that.
yeah. It does. It does.
That's this. We could call it. It sounds cliche, but this toxic masculinity, this
Yeah,
performance of what masculinity looks like. Oh, I can't get denied. Come on, bro. She
yeah.
said no. Take the L and keep it trucking. Like, go wash your butt. Maybe the next one to say yeah. Like,
Oh God.
oh my gosh. Cause what you, this girl don't owe you no hello. Yeah, it might be rude not to say hi back, but she don't owe it to you. And it's funny I'm saying this because at one point in my life I was the same, and not with women necessarily, with everybody.
Yeah,
I could go on a tangent about this story with this guy. I said, "What's up?" I'm not a super morning person. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He was like, "It's like, yo, who the you looking at like?" And it festered the whole day. I let that bother
yeah,
me the whole day.
yeah,
My then girlfriend at the time, we were going to the diner hall. She made me a lunch. I'm still going off about. She was like, "You still mad about that?" Oh my gosh, they start laughing. Now
yeah,
looking back at it, that's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah. And so, because I've been in those situations, and yeah, I there was one that almost turned out really, really bad for me.
Mm.
Really bad for me. Really bad for me.
Like why? Like why? Why do y'all gotta walk on eggshells and on ice? Cause men have fragile egos.
Yeah,
We need to heal. We need to,
yeah, yeah, we do. But it's rejection, and not just rejection for not rejection for the romantic piece, but yeah, women can tap in on those mother wounds
mm,
unknowingly, and I'm not that's not for the women to deal with, that is for
that's
the
what I
men to deal
mean. We
with.
gotta heal. Cause that's
Yeah,
we know what it is.
yeah. Well, they don't always know what it is, though. Slim.
There are a lot of people who don't know where it comes from, and they're just on go. They're just moving through life.
Right.
Mm.
Moving through life, and suppressing that pain.
And it
And
festers and manifests in ugly ways.
right. And this is where your music comes in, because it helps people to get right within.
At least bring some awareness.
Well,
What?
that's a first step.
Yeah,
That's the first step.
that's what I'm saying. Bare minimum, at least.
Yeah.
Get your thinking body. You can't run when you come over here, cause I'm
Yeah.
gonna put the mirror up. I might hold your hand through it. I might poke my head up from behind with a smile, like you got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is it's something. It is. And I'm trying not to tell too many extra stories. I think I'm way over the number of tangents that are supposed to be tolerated for one episode. But this, when it comes to black love,
Yeah.
that's what Awujo is about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this podcast is about. So I have a lot, that I can say on this topic.
Mm.
And again, I'm still grieving too,
Mm.
Miss Angie. I'm still grieving that, because it's sad.
Right.
It's sad, and what she represents, what she has afforded the community are words and lyrics that express, our complicated love. So yeah, I'm going to struggle with speaking on this now, because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, yeah. So um
May her memory be a blessing.
yes, it is. It is. I will say this too, to lighten it up a little bit. Um when I met D'Angelo, I was looking at him like, all right, I know you like thick girls. If you didn't have this woman with you right now, I might slide you my number, but no, joking on all of that, but I did appreciate knowing that he appreciated me when he saw me. Let me just put it like that.
uh,
But yeah. So rest in peace, Miss Angie. Rest in peace. So for for her to have to remind people over and over again that she was the first part of the first female rap group, it was hard for me not to think about MC Rock
hmm
with that and what we discussed last week. Um,
Gotta fight for that legacy.
yes, yes, and we weren't. I wasn't paying attention to the clock for Miss Angie Stone, but it's the same thing. She'd been saying it, for 40 years too. And what we're doing is helping people to connect the dots on things, and
Mm.
we're saying this is what we need to be acknowledged for. This is what these women need to be acknowledged for. They are pioneers. So Miss Angie Stone gets her flowers. Miss Shyrock continues to get her flowers. Miss Sylvia Robinson, she gets her flowers, and we're giving them all out. We are. Um, One of the things that we didn't get a chance to really dive into last week as much is the corporate connection to all of this. So the battles that Miss Shyrock and MC, I'm sorry, the battles that MC. No, I want to say Miss MC Shyrock and Miss Angie Stone had to fight are still being fought in corporate spaces. Black women are still being fighting for the recognition that they deserve. And we know better, so we can do better, and we should
Mm.
do better. So one of the things that I had wanted to point out too is the 92% right now. So in the 92% movement, the percentage of women that voted in last election as they did, um, they are kind of sitting back, and it's not them disengaging, it's them needing time to cocoon, time to work through, time to recharge, because we got work ahead of us. And with everything that's happening in the country right now, Slim, I'm recognizing that we have to focus on us.
We must.
We must.
We must. It's
We
the only
must.
way we get through
The only way we get through it. I just learned that one of my favorite authors and Princeton professors has a new book out, called "We Are the Leaders We've Been Looking For," and the author of that book is Eddie Glaude Jr. Um, I That book says it all. Just the title says it all. I'm gonna read it by next week, Slim. I'm gonna read it. So I'm saying this, here, and so you can hold me
it. Got some
accountable.
accountability, gotcha.
Yes, yes, I need you to be my accountability partner on this. Um, because it resonates with me,
Hmm
and we talked about this too in a previous episode, how, we shouldn't be looking to celebrities for guidance. But what Mr. Glaud does is he takes it a step further, and he's even looking at the civil rights leaders of the 60s, and he's saying, I love them, but we shouldn't be waiting for another one of them,
Waiting
like,
for our savior, yeah.
right. And who does that
Mm.
sound like? Go
I
ahead.
am not your savior.
Yes, yes.
King Kendrick.
Hmm. We have to save ourselves. We have to save ourselves. And this is going to be a time
That's
for
what that whole
people.
Super Bowl performance was.
Hmm. 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 We're at a time where we're having to lean on some of the rules from, the airplane, the instructions they give you. We got to put our mask on first, and then we
Mm.
can check for others.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my mask is good. I'm ready to support others.
Mm.
And I do believe that partnerships, and content like this is going to help us through these next few years. I'm ready. What about you?
I'm finding out with every day that I'm ready. The more I show up, the more I create, the more I put out, the more I face, the more I overcome. Um, if like it's anything in life, you never know that you're ready.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's you.
So I like to think I'm ready, but I don't know if I can confidently say it because a task or something come up and I'm like I'm just in it and I do it and God is walking me through it and it gets done. So long as I'm tapped in with God, I am ready.
I was about to say, it sounds
maybe
to me
that's
like
my
that's your stay ready.
maybe that's my hesitance. Yeah.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, and we haven't talked about this yet, and I don't want to say too much because I'm still waiting for things to be finalized. But the meeting that we attended on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
you're ready. You're
Mm.
ready. You're ready. And you're helping me to get ready too.
I
You know,
appreciate that.
you are. Um, all right. Do we want to say goodbye to the people?
I think yeah, I got nothing left to say.
Yeah. We said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Especially
and
on that
what
end, yeah.
and what we said see, so this is the other thing too about the matriarchs, black women. um it's the soul food that we offer. Yeah. So what we've talked about are things that I would expect to connect with people on a soul level. um so we don't need to say as much, but I
Mm-hmm.
do hope that people feel a whole lot. I hope they feel a whole lot. Um, I love my black people. I love my black men, and I love being a black woman. And we need to turn the TVs off and get to having the conversations that we need to have with one another, so that we can love each other wholly.
Did you hear that breakdown on TV off where someone said even him screaming mustard because the producer is DJ Mustard,
Mm-hmm.
but they say that serves as a double entendre. He might be saying mustard
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gathered together, and
Mm-hmm.
while the intricacies might not have been displayed in the song, he is saying get together, and I think we are now breaking
Yeah.
that down further and what that means. Yeah, we gotta break down them walls, put that pride
Yeah.
and that ego to the side, be direct, but deliver with love. I think only good can come from that.
Yeah.
When we come together in love and move forward with love, what can stop that? God is love. So what weapon formed is gonna prosper.
Mm-hmm. So I attended a meeting with the friends a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago, and love kept coming up. And the lyric, I can't remember who sings this song, but it's a popular song. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there's just too little of. And may sound cheesy, but that is truly how I feel. But and with that, for all the negative and dark stuff that's out here, the light is on the other side of that. So we can easily access, not easily, we can access that love if we work through our stuff. So if we get right within as individuals, integrate that shadow, and start recognizing that we do mirror behavior. We do. So when you see that thing in someone that you don't like, ask yourself, is it in them that you don't like it, or is it in yourself?
Clock it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And back to something that you had said a little earlier, if I don't see my black men as great, as beautiful, as strong, as intelligent, as all those things that they want to be seen as, who's going to make them feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's different when it comes from a black woman. It's different. And maybe that is in part to how we're known for being those nurturers, for being those caregivers. And I'm not suggesting that everybody take that role on,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't spread yourself too thin. But we're seen as that because we are that. Love and light. Love and light. So yeah, that's it for me.
Right. And with that,
All right, so let's wrap up this episode, Neff, so I can go listen to some more Angie Stone, and I can go listen to some more Jill Scott, and I can finish listening to No Name. I was listening to
oh,
her, huh?
what a sweet project. I'm jealous you get to hear that for the first time.
Let me share this with you about it. I'm gonna have to listen to it a few more times, Slim, because there's a lot going on in each song.
Yep.
What she does with the music and what she does with the lyrics, it's a lot. So it's like I got to enjoy the music, and then I got to catch the parts of the song that I want to revisit.
Yep.
So it's
Cause she
go
don't
ahead.
waste the bar. She ain't one of them.
It's she don't, and that's why it's hard, because I'm like, I got to make sure I heard her right.
True child of Lauren Hill. Everything is everything.
Yeah. But another thing that she does too is her music. It reminds me of Dark Child, the producer
Mm.
Dark Child,
Mm-hmm.
because she plays with songs and with she plays with the music, and it's layered. So to at first when you hear it, it may not sound smooth, or to me it didn't sound smooth, because I'm like, there's too much going on,
Yeah.
sensory overload. But the more I listen to it, I'm like, all of this does flow, and it's almost like the music is designed to command your attention.
Mm-hmm. A little chaotic, but or like on the surface chaotic, and then once you step into the chaos, it's oh.
Right, right, right. Yes, that is it. So yeah, that describes it so well. It truly does, because that's what it felt like. And the only other time I remember feeling that was with Dark Child.
Mm.
He did. It was a song he did with Brandy. I think it's "What About Us" is the name of the song, and that song has a chaotic beat, but it's amazing. So I hear that in No Name's music, and I appreciate you introducing me to her, because since she's of your generation, my daughter's generation, it I can hear you guys differently.
Mm.
It helps me to better connect with the things that matter to you and how you tell your story now. So I appreciate that, Slim. So all right, I'm still in my feels, obviously, over Miss Angie and you know Black American life.
Mm.
Um, so I think we can wrap up this episode with love,
With love.
with love, with hope, commitment, and dedication to keep doing what we're doing, uplifting the culture, and getting folks to turn off these TVs. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, so we're going to close out, you guys, and we'll see you next week for a new episode. Thank you for sitting with us while we talk about Miss Angie Stone. May she rest in peace, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
That'll be easy.
Why would I throw in the towel? I just got in my bag. I don't make no mistakes. I'm coming for mine, and there ain't no one taking my place. Listen, I've taken some L's, yeah. That means I lived and I learned. Now I got some money to burn. Why would I throw in the towel? I just got in my bag. I don't make no mistakes. I'm coming for mine. There ain't no one taking my place. Listen, I've taken some L's. That means I lived and I learned. Now I got some money to burn. Why would I throw in the towel? I just got in my bag. Slow the starts, what they calling now? I don't know.